Hi, everyone. This is Siris Rivas for Choosing a Different Future. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. And I love that I have this particular guest on. We both travel quite a bit, even though we have a house together in Savannah, Georgia. And so it's kind of tricky sometimes for us to coordinate our schedules. But I have my mom, Zulma Verdejo-Carrion, on the show today. How does it get any better than that? She is an Access Consciousness Bars facilitator, an Access Consciousness body facilitator, body process facilitator. She also has a lot of different businesses, including an Airbnb and multi-level marketing, and she can speak about that. It's through LifeVantage. She is not just my mom, she's one of my best friends. We travel a lot together. We sometimes co-facilitate classes together, and then we also obviously facilitate them apart as well. And she is a constant inspiration in my life daily. And so I'm really excited to have her on the show. You want to say hi?
Hi, how are you? Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad it worked out. So, gosh, there's so many places we can go. You know that, Sita and Shani, my siblings, that they were on the show that kind of launched the episode. And we were talking about how, as we were growing up, we had a lot of different things that were projected and expected at us as kids. But we didn't really get to talk about what was projected and expected of you as a parent and as a mom, as a wife. That would have probably made it like a 5-hour episode instead of a 1 hour. So we kind of focused on just the three of us, which is already plenty, and we only got through the surface. So for you, even before coming to the United States, because you were born and raised in Puerto Rico, was it always projected and expected of you that you were going to be a parent and that you were going to be a mom?
I would say yes. That's, as a woman, people in the Hispanic community, you are expected to be a mom and get married, leave the house after you get married, and then have kids. So yes, it was expected of me. That was something normal in my life.
Yeah. So what was that supposed to look like for you as a mom? What were you told motherhood and parenting was supposed to be like?
Interesting.
Every once in a while, I have some interesting questions.
So sometimes it was like, as a wife, I'm supposed to be doing everything. I'm supposed to be there for everybody. My kids have to be perfect. They were a reflection of the way that I raised them. So they were supposed to be good, go to college, dress well, and be well fed.
Mm-hmm. So if we acted out, if we chose something that wasn't acceptable to society, to our culture, then that means you were a bad parent.
Exactly.
And I bet there's a lot of people that are watching this that'll be that was the case for their culture and in their families as well. That it's even if it wasn't really about the kids having their own choice, it's whatever their choices were, it wasn't even really a choice. It's that means that you did something wrong as a parent.
Yes.
Now, was it also looked at when your kids were successful, did it mean that you were a good parent? Or that just mean what did that mean then?
Yeah, of course. Then I did a good job. If that happened. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, though, is, you say, of course. I recall when I was growing up that sometimes it was if we were successful, it's we were exceptional. It wasn't actually about you. It was we were an exception to the rule, or it was something that was surprising, maybe because of the two of us having special needs and me being gifted. It was it was this extra thing. So it was this natural ability that we had. For some of us, for me especially, it was if I did something well, I was really, superior and intelligent, and it wasn't necessarily about you. Maybe you added a little bit of your sprinkles of parenting, but it was going to happen no matter what. But if something went bad, then it was your fault.
Oh, you got me there. I think that no matter what, it was something, it was not said
Mm,
unconsciously. Yes, you have some kind of pride. You have a pride that your kids did good.
yeah.
And it was, the judgment was worse or heavier if they didn't do as good.
Yeah.
It was different because I have them two special needs. You're gifted, but then I have that one with spina bifida. I have that one with that's hard of hearing or deaf. And so when I started dealing with that, I stepped out of so much about who I was as a mother into what can I do to make them successful in this world. So
Okay.
thinking about if I died, what happened to them? That
Mm,
was everyday thinking. How can I prepare them? Because I'm not going to be there for them all the time.
yeah. So you were taking the long view. It wasn't just like, there was definitely the immediacy of a lot of the doctor's appointments and the therapy appointments and the schooling and the basic needs that were needing to be met. But then you were also looking at like the future, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, what do I need to prepare them for?
Yes.
That's really cool. And so here's the other thing too. So my mom, was a bilingual educator for more than 35 years. So you were a parent yourself, but then you're also interacting with other parents in a professional capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that other parents were looking at the long view as well for the students that you had in your classrooms?
You got me thinking there. Um, some parents, yes, I would say some parents were looking at the long term, and if they weren't, I was making sure that that was happening because yeah, I'm teaching kindergarten, I'm teaching first grade, and I'm preparing them for the future. So yes, it was my job as a teacher to say, hey, when they go to first grade, when they go to second grade, when they go to high school, when they go to college, this
Mm-hmm.
is required. We have to prepare them now. So I will say all the time. Now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm in that world of analyzing what I did and how I did it, I would say yes. Yes, in fact, I taught fifth grade, I was telling my kids, when you become a doctor, I don't have to pay for the visits. I would not, yeah, I will have to pay.
Well, and it's funny because you said the fifth graders that you taught, you had a reunion of them recently. I think it was a couple birthdays ago, and they all got together and they still remember you. They're Facebook friends with you, and
Yeah.
and they're all over the world. They're doing all these different things, and they remember those lessons. So how cool is that? That they're still like, you still stay connected to so many of your students. I remember when we would walk around in the mall, the three of us with you, and you would walk around and all of a sudden these students of yours from different grades would be like, maestra, maestra, hi, and they'd come up to you, and the parents would come up to you and they'd be hugging and kissing you. And it was this like regular occurrence for us,
Mhm.
for your ex-students to come up and approach you, and they never seemed to forget you, which I'm not surprised. When it comes to the long view and looking at the present and the future with your students and with us as your kids, do you think that, speaking of other professionals and other teachers, that was part of what made you so successful with your students, that you were not just looking at them right now, but you were looking at them in the future as well?
Yes, I think so too. Yes, and I see in them as unique because not all of them we're going to go to college, but to give them the skills, to teach them the skills that will make them successful in life was my target, was my goal. And seeing them, one of them told me, "Oh, I'm a mechanic." When in the reunion, and I said, "Great,
Yeah.
great," because many people think that going to college you're going to make a lot of money. He's happy. I was like, oh my God, it's like I get teary eyes right now. It's like he's happy, and sometimes they make even more money than any other professional.
Than someone who has like a college degree, yeah. There's a
Exactly.
lot of great skills with mechanics. Like every time I get my car repaired, I'm like, man, are they getting my money? They're getting a lot of money. So there's absolutely, absolutely. And that it's not like that success and happiness doesn't have to look any one way. I love that. I love that. So, you know, you're saying that all the different skills that they needed to be successful in life. So what are some, like, what's are maybe 3 of the skills that you made sure that the kids walked out of your classroom having, or that it was encouraged and nurtured in your classroom?
You are able to do whatever you want in life. If you really, you know, if you really, really, really want something, you will be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of finding the way. I even told my own kids, you know, when people told Shani or Omar and Sita they couldn't do something. Sita Mia, you know, people thought that she was going to live in my house all her life.
Yeah.
And she's completely independent and cooking and everything. So, if, you know, even it's backfired to me the other day, a few weeks ago, because I was like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I said, wait a second. That was my motto. If you really, really, really want to do something, find a way. You can do it.
What do you mean it backfired on you? Like, what were you saying you wanted to do that you couldn't do?
Because it was holding me. It was holding me from doing things I wanted to do now in my different businesses. I said, I can't do this. And then I said, wait a second, what am I saying? If I taught my kids all the time if there's a mountain there and I had to go across it, what would I do? Do I climb it? You know, I make sure no matter what, I'm going to go.
She said this a lot, y'all. I can vouch for this. It was like we all quote her. We might have even quoted her on that episode with the 3 of us of this very thing. Continue. Yes, if there's a mountain and what you want is on the other side of it, what do you got to do?
Either I go, you know, climbing, you know, doesn't matter how many days it takes me, how many years, go around it, dig a hole. But, you know, I swear I'll be able to do it. And my kids, you know, even you will go like, what? So I'm dealing with this that I cannot do this, that this is not working for me. And I was making excuses for myself. I said, no. So how bad do you want it? How really, 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 really bad you want it?
Mm-hmm.
It's working. I said, hey, I'll find a way.
Yeah.
Did it. So with my students, hey, if you want something, you will be able to do it. And teaching them the skills, like, you know what, reading is important. Some math, you know, you have to numbers, you have to, you know, have a checking account. Simple things like that, but I'm more that I won't go into that right now. But even perseverance,
yeah.
Perseverance, it's like, you know, yes, stay there. Sometimes you're going to go like slow, and then it's going to go fast, and then going to go slow again. It's going to go fast, but it's going to be happening because
that's definitely one of the things that I've learned from you time and time again is to not give up. Like, that's going to get me teary-eyed because like, wow, there's so many times when you're just so overwhelmed by things, when there's, you know, things aren't showing up as quickly as you would like, or things are showing up the opposite, the complete, like, horrendous way. You're just like, what's going on here? Like, and it's really tempting to blame yourself. And those are the moments when I'd call you and you would be like, don't give up. What else we got to do? Like, let's brainstorm it. Let's think of what else we can do. What can I do? Sometimes to the point where I had to be like, Ma, I don't want you to fix this or do anything about this right now. Like, I don't need the brainstorming yet. I'm just acknowledging that this is not showing up the way I'd like right now. Give me a day, give me an hour, whatever it is. Maybe let's just go for a walk or something. And then, yes, we can go and tackle this. And I never felt like I had to tackle it by myself. And that's, I think, all 3 of us would say that like we always knew we could reach out to you for anything. Like, I remember when we were away from you and we weren't living with you anymore, be it when I was away in high school, when Shani was away in college and things like that. Like, you would be like, call me whatever time of the day or night, call me. Like, it doesn't matter. If you say 911 urgent, I will find a way to get to the phone and we will sort it out. I got you. And that was not a small thing. That's not a small thing. And I think it's such a blessing, because I know, I mean, I've worked with the kids and I've seen the kids where they didn't have that level of support. And I'm just so grateful that you were there all the time. Even if you weren't physically there, you were there. Like we would, when we hang out, the three of us, we also were like, oh, well, if Ma was here, she would say this and this and this. Or we would quote you even when you weren't there. Or like the weddings. Like when we go to a wedding, you see, so many of y'all might not know this. My mom is obsessed with every kind of electric slide, you know, like Cupid shuffle, wobble, wobble, all of those dances. And anytime we'd be at a wedding or a party, we would play all of them. And everybody would, at least the three of us and my mom would dance it. And we would try to wrangle other people in to join us. But like, it was like we were trained to do it. And it wasn't the kind of training where it was like horrible, like, oh, like sometimes it was like, come on, I'm talking to my friends, I'm eating cake. Can I just eat the cake? But it got to the point that even when we were at someone else's party or wedding, if the song played, we would be like, I got to get out there. Like Ma's calling, even if Ma's not physically there, it's like you were calling us to choose joy all the time, wherever we were, to choose what was going to light us up and what was going to be fun. And that's such a gift, because a lot of parents and a lot of people aren't necessarily choosing joy as much as you. And to have a parent that was choosing that so much in the midst of so many challenges, because you didn't have it easy.
No.
But you kept being like, let's dance, let's sing, let's go like here, let's go outside, let's do this, and what else can we do? And it was almost like on the other side of the mountain was the joy sometimes. And so you were like, whatever we got to do to be happy and be joyful right now, let's do that, you know? And that could be anything.
And also allowing you to be sad for a few minutes. Sometimes you call in the middle of the night, and I said, okay, what's going on? So I had 3 tests. I have to read this many chapters. I have to do this. Okay, so let's do it this way. What about if you do this first, this second, this third? So you say, okay, fine. So cry for 5 minutes. Cry for 10 minutes. Go and take a shower. And then hit the books again. So try to manage your time this way. And then you say, okay, yes, that helps.
Yeah, you didn't ever tell us to like suck it up and like not be upset. Like you never made us feel bad if we were upset or we were crying or we were sad or depressed. It was just like, all right, be with this, like really be with this now. And also get that it's going to be temporary and that you're going to have to choose something else if you want to actually be successful or be joyful or like, you know, meet your goals. Like be here for right now, but then and then set your timer. That was the other thing you taught me. Okay, you can set your timer for 5 minutes. You can cry. And I would cry and wail and scream and hit the pillow and everything. Remember? You'd be like, pound the pillow, honey. You know, for the breakups, you're like, punch the pillow as if it was him. Like all of that. And then you set the timer. The timer goes ding. And then you wash your face and you're good to go. And you keep on trucking. So that's awesome. Thank you for that.
And on the topic of being there for your children, I remember going through divorces, doing my master's degree. You were little, and there was also something that I remember doing was, if I'm tired, if I'm sleeping, and you have to tell me something, write it down and put it on top of my dresser, slide it under the door, but tell me. You can. You know, just find a way to tell me. And I remember waking up sometimes in the morning and having little notes, Mom, this is happening at school, or this is, I want to talk to you about this. And I say, okay, so I'll find the time. Because sometimes it would be like, not now. My brain couldn't handle so many things at the same time, but you knew that you could reach me even by writing me a note.
So when you did have that space, you'd be like, all right, let me pick this up. All right, what's going on? Okay, yeah. So then you knew, you had the awareness of everything that was going on all the time. Yeah, that was really handy. I forgot about that. I forgot about the notes thing, but that's so true. We totally did that. And that was, speaking of notes and writing and things, I think the other part that you really encouraged, you know, you talked about reading and math. It was like not just any skill academically, you always pointed out to the life implications. So with reading, the joy of reading, the adding more information, adding more vocabulary so that you could converse with anybody in the world, That was big, and the travel piece with it. But there's also the writing. So like you encourage us to write a lot and about our own lives, poetry, stories. Like you started me being like, okay, what did you do today? And I started writing and journaling because you were like, here, go, you want something to do, go ahead and write everything you did today. And then it started turning into like diaries and journaling. And I don't think I don't know if I've ever acknowledged this or told you about this, that was planted the seeds to me doing such a great documentation as a speech language pathologist. Like people rave about like how thorough my notes are, like how like they feel like they were in the session with me when they read my notes, like they know what kind of cueing I did, what the child's behavior was, what the parents said, like the environment, all of that. And I started with all of that writing in my childhood.
First grade.
You know? So it was that. And then with the math, you would actually make it not just about like adding and this abstract, but you'd be like, hey, do you want to pay some bills? Do you plan on having an apartment and a house? That involves money. So and you want to make sure you know what money's coming and going. So let's get you the bank accounts. We had bank accounts, y'all, from the moment I think I was in middle school or something, and I already had a bank account, and I was like doing the like for my allowance, I would put it in, I would talk about what I was spending it on. I was balancing my checkbook and had bank statements at like 12. Like
I paid allowance by writing checks.
That's true. So we had to actually cash the check. He wouldn't just give it to us in cash. Yeah. I mean, she made us work for it, y'all. So it's all those things. It's like really like, and I learned that with the kids that I work with now. It's like to not just tell them like, oh, we're doing this just because we have to. It's like, how is this actually going to be useful to you now and in the future? Like what, and if it's not, then we're like, this is just, then I tell them, I'll be really honest. I'm like, hey, your school's requiring for us to do this. Let's just get this done as quickly as possible so we can get to this other thing that you know is really going to be beneficial to you. Like just really being like, not trying to lie and being like, oh, everything is valid. Everything that we are doing in school is always going to have this like connection or relevance to you in your life. Most of it does. But if it isn't, let's do it. Let's let them know, because the kids pick up on it. Like we would pick up on the stuff like that's not really going to be useful to us. Like, and you would be like, yeah, we're just checking this off. And then as soon as you get this done, we're going to go get some ice cream. And I'm like, all right, cool. The incentives and everything. So that was super, super helpful.
When you asked me this morning, a few minutes ago about what choices I have made, I remember working on my master's degree. You were in third grade, and Silamia was in first grade, and it was difficult, doing the master's degree while I had little children, small children. And the day of the graduation, I was like, I don't want to go. And I was asked, yes, go. You have to go. And when I go into the master's degree, going to my graduation, I realized later on that when you went to college, and I said to you, no, you know what, take it easy, don't do the master's degree. Say, no, I have to. But I was inspiring you and other relatives in my family to shoot.
At that point, you were the first one in our family to have gotten a master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And, and for a lot of the people in our family, even finishing high school was a big deal. And then attending college, let alone completing college, was a big deal. And then here you were, and you had finished the master's degree. And I remember seeing you walk across the stage. And I was like, oh my God, that's my mom!
With 3 little children, yeah.
Yeah. And there was a lot of people I remember that told you, oh, you should wait until your kids are done with college before you get your master's. But part of the fact that you had empowered us to be so independent, like you let us know. I remember we had a family meeting. We had a lot of family meetings, y'all. So we would have a family meeting and you'd let us know that this is what you were planning. And we were like, oh, it's okay. We can do this for cooking. We can make sandwiches. We got the laundry. It's okay, Ma. It's only a year. We got you. And you allowed us to contribute to you.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like only about you as a parent doing for us all the time. We had the skills to run the house that year and give you hugs while you're studying and cheer you on, just like you'd been doing for us for however many years at that point. because I think it was in my early teens when you finished your master's.
No, you were, you know, when I finished my master's, you were in third grade, honey. You were in third grade. That's, you know, I was the only the only person with 3 kids. You were in charge of Sita's doing homework.
Mm-hmm.
Third grade, Sita was doing homework. Tino was helping. And Shani was like in kindergarten, preschool. I was, you know, you were not a teenager yet.
Yeah, if it was Tino was around, then I had to have been a teenager already, because I wasn't in third grade yet. But the point still stands, in that we had the skills to keep going and doing stuff, and it was really cool. It was really cool to also not make, like, a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's a year in the life of your child, it's gonna be so horrible to not have you around. And it was like, we had you around. It was just in a different way. And we were also able to tap into the other adults in our lives that were supporting us and nurturing us in our external network, you know, our expanded network. And it flew by the year, but like everything else, and it continues. It seems like time is getting faster and faster and faster with everything that's showing up. We're creating more and more. So we talked about how some of the things you chose that were different as a parent and as a teacher. So now you have a ton of businesses. And like, that's the other thing that I've learned from you. Like, you started doing it first, where you were working in the schools, and then you added on becoming a massage therapist. And you were already seeing, like, okay, I'm going to retire early, but I want to keep working and creating. I want to keep generating money, even not just rely on my pension. So you added on doing massage therapy, and you got so lit up and excited about this whole new chapter in your life. I remember you coming and like being like, I learned this in class and this in class and all of that. And it's just, you've added more and more things since then. So, like, what inspired for you to add on massage therapy, and what is one of the things that you're choosing with business now that you may not have considered doing before?
With massage therapy, it was like, it was money, but at the same time was, what can I do? I got to get bored after working for so many years. So I enjoyed changing the bodies and getting rid of the pain in the people. And with the rest of the things, it's like, one of the things that I learned was to travel and not to be scared of traveling by myself. I've been doing energy work in different capacities, and I started with, you know, before massage therapy, it started when you were little, and then with massage therapy, I found access bars, and I started teaching access bars. I got rid of the fear of traveling. You started it when we went to Barcelona, but then with access, it exploded. And it's a matter of,
you travel more than me sometimes. We like go back and forth. Who's the winner? It's not a race.
No. And access helped me also, that with the traveling, in a way to get rid of what what was holding me back. And it was that this thought about, I need somebody to go with me, or I'm a woman, how come I'm going to be going and travel by myself? That's how that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't say it, but it was in my brain. It was in my soul that I wasn't able to do it. And then after a while, I said, okay, I'm taking a class. I don't have, this is the time, here's the money, and let's go. So Access Bars is one of my businesses right now. Massage therapist, I put it aside, and now I'm doing holistic. I'm going to training for different ways of helping people get better and, stay young.
Yeah.
And in a way that is so harmful to their bodies. Like before, I remember having allergies and going to the pharmacy and putting something in my mouth that was damaging something else. So ozone now, stem cells, rejuvenation, so many different things I'm doing that fills me, like it makes me happy. And yes.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, so when you were looking at business, like, did you ever actually see when you were starting to be a teacher that you would have your own business? Like, was there ever an idea that you were considering? Okay, so that's already one new thing that you're like, wow, your life choices have taken you in this whole other path. And then you added on massage therapy to like keep creating, keep stimulated and, you know, and interacting with different people. And then you started adding on these other things. And even though you're not doing massage therapy anymore, you're adding on these other things. So what are some of the questions that you ask yourself, or the considerations that you have when you're looking at adding something to your life and business or not?
Wow. Okay, questions that I asked. Okay, so when I started with massage therapist, I was like, what would be fun? What would be fun for me to do? What do I like? So massage therapy was kind of on the same length with energy work and learning and doing that. With the other ones, what I was asking was, would that be fun? And what would I create? Would that help other people?
Mm-hmm.
And because I like to help people. So massage therapy, I was helping. Mm-hmm. So the other ones, how can I help them in which way? And would it help me? Would I like it? So all of that, and sometimes even just being there and saying, so yes, this is something that I can do. This is something I will have fun doing. And that's what I go with.
And are you also asking questions about like it making you money and like a profit or anything like that? Like, do you look at like costs versus, you know, the cost benefit ratios and things like that when it comes to business?
Of course, yes. You know.
So what does that look like for you? Joy.
Yes, you know, business, you know, you have to generate money. You have to, you know, make money if you're doing a business. So yes, how much money I have to put into that, you know, how much money I have to invest. What are the chances of me making money? I put that in the balance. What do I require? Do I require a team? How much time do I require? Can I do it from anywhere in the world? Because that's the biggest thing for me. If I go to Dublin, can I do it from Dublin? If I go to Puerto Rico, can I do it from Puerto Rico? My mom is in Puerto Rico, so I like to see my mom and visit. So do I stop there? No. Can I set my own hours? That's another one, because I'm used to be working for 30 plus years as a teacher, and I have to be there in the morning. I have to leave by this time. And sometimes, even though the kids left, we stay till 7 o'clock at night. We work weekends, but we didn't make any extra money. So
and you worked in the summers. You would take us with you.
On a Saturday, on a Sunday, I take my kids to the school, and I was working from school. At that time, I don't know if you can do that now, but you know, few years ago, that's the way I did it when you were little. So it's like, what do I have freedom? Can I say I'm not going to work this week?
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to teach these classes and not do the other one. And that's what I look into the different businesses that I have right now.
So how are you different from your family now? Like, given your life trajectory and your choices, like, what have you been choosing that has been different from the people that you grew up with and your family?
I'm crazy.
I love how you say that with a big smile on your face.
I'm crazy in a good way, because my choices have been completely different from my family, from my friends. Yeah, I am different from high school. I'm not the same person even from high school. In which way? in the ways the way that I'm choosing. I don't have grandchildren. And one time, one person told me, "Oh, you don't know what I'm missing." And I said, "Oh, what do you mean what I'm
Oh, you
missing?"
don't know what you're missing by not having grandkids?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, grandkids, this is going to happen. I said, well, in the meantime, what can I do? What can I do? So, I may not have grandchildren. You know, those are going to be sad for that. So I'm choosing not to be sad for things that I don't have, I might not have. I'm choosing to be happy now, today. And my kids, by me choosing all these things, my kids are choosing to be happy, to do their own things. They're completely independent. Shani was born with, dead. He he had surgery the same day that he was born. The chances were very, very slim, and he required a lot from me. And I let go of that, and he's blooming. He's finishing a second career right now after chemo. Mia was born with her legs up here. She couldn't put her legs down. Numerous surgeries, completely independent. Both are in Chicago. I'm in Georgia. So when I look at my family, and myself, and look at the dynamic, we get along really, really well. But I'm the one that has been have chosen to have different businesses. um yes, some of them have the career, they have the master's degree now. They still work, but I have the freedom that they don't have. I
Mm-hmm.
would
Well, maybe a little bit more. It looks different. The other
uh,
thing that I'm looking at when you're talking about like the fact that you're not waiting for us to have grandkids, like I'll speak for me. I'll let Sita and Shani speak for themselves. But for me, it's takes off so much pressure because there's a lot of my friends who they feel a lot of pressure, particularly from their parents, because their parents are waiting to live through their grandparents, through their grandkids, I mean. So they're waiting for their grandkids, and so they're not willing to actually travel and keep having businesses and keep having fun. And it's almost like I can only have so much fun, but I'm really going to have fun when the grandkids come in. So they're like kind of capping and limiting how much joy they can have in their lives and how much excitement and adventure because they're waiting for this particular thing that they've decided is going to give them that. And you're not waiting for us to choose anything for you to have that. And so if we have it, cool. And if we don't, if we choose to do it, cool. And if we don't choose to have kids, it's fine. And it's just one less thing that you're not like constantly checking on. And when are you gonna have kids? And when are you gonna have kids? And when are you gonna like? And I remember when, especially when I was in my like I think late 20s, early 30s, it was like a constant question. And now I think people will be like, they would be shocked if I did have kids, like because they're just like, they maybe have given up and think that it's too late for me, which is all an interesting point of view. But they stopped asking questions because I would come up with a lot of different fun responses just to entertain myself. When they would ask that, like, oh, well, I'll have to ask my girlfriend, or, gosh, I'm probably just going to get my tubes tied. That's just easier. And then I could always untie them later. And they would just be like scandalized and horrified and like all these different things. Or, I think that prostitution is the way to go instead. And so, like, and they would just be like, wow, like kind of regret asking. um, but I never really had that with you. Like I remember there was a couple years where you were kind of asking, but it wasn't from this place of like I was going to be less than if I didn't have kids. And I really appreciate that because I definitely know that that's not the case for everybody, especially as a woman. That you get a lot of pressure to have kids by a certain age, and you're just like, go ahead, live your life. Are you having fun? What are you doing? Okay, cool. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Like, love you. Bye. That's really great.
And if I do have grandchildren, I will enjoy them. I will have, I will spoil them, or maybe not. Who knows? But I don't even think about it. I It's not my choice. You know, if my kids want it, if they want it, but everything is fine. Are you happy? Are my kids happy? Are they fulfilling their dreams and what they would like to do right now? Um, and that's everything that I want,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's not about me anymore.
Yeah. So when was that moment for you when you realized that it wasn't about you as a parent? Like, because that's an interesting phrase that you said. Like, for some parents, they think that all of their, like, looping back to kind of what we talked about in the beginning, it's like what your kids choose or don't choose is about you. So was there a moment where you all of a sudden realized, hey, it's not really about what I would want for them to do or not do?
I don't remember that time. What I remember thinking was, having a child is not something that you choose because, oh, it would be nice. Having a child is a big choice. It's a big thing. You have to take time. It's they need you. It's like, that you have to feed them. You have to dress them. It is energy and love. And I don't know if I would
And
like.
money, a lot of money.
But I it's the time. You sleep with them sometimes. You have to read. I did so much that I was like, wow, if somebody had to do this, even if they don't have any physical condition, or any surgeries or anything. It takes a lot of time. And yes, money. Okay, it takes a lot of money. You need to have money to do all those things. But if you want to do a good job, or not, or take, I don't know, you have to even put in the words, a child is not a toy.
It's not a toy.
No, it's not a toy. It's not like, oh, I want a toy that I can dress and I can change.
And I laugh, but I definitely know, and I think everybody that's watching this can know of people that they have kids, and that's how it is for them. Like they treat their kids like toys. Like, these are like mannequins and dolls that I get to dress, and I get to put the different little hair barrettes in, and this is my little doll that I can walk around. And then when they actually start having their own personalities and opinions, and they want to choose something different, it's a shock to them, because a toy isn't supposed to have their own point of view, isn't supposed to want something else that you as the owner of the toy would like them to do, or and how they would like them to behave. And it can be a shock to some people if they have that point of view. So yeah, that's actually not a small comment.
Mhm. So you have to love them when they're born. You have to love them in the middle. You have to love them when they're 30. And for you don't have to, but you love them all the time, and they don't go away. Your child
Hmm.
counts on the day that they die.
Yep.
So, yeah, I have seen people loving the kids when they are little, when they're babies, but when they're teenagers, they say, "Oh, I can't wait till this happens." Or so, yes, it's different loving times, and some of them are challenging, and many for me were very very challenging. Um,
Hmm.
besides the illnesses and conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that I love when I talk about kids and parenting and our childhood together. One of the things that's such a gift about our friendship and our mother-daughter relationship is that we can look back on those times, and there isn't this judgment. There's so much gratitude. There's this acknowledgement of, like, for me, I know that you did the best you could given all the tools and all of the modeling and all of the resources and the time and energy that you had available to you. And so even though, given everything that you know now, maybe you would have chosen something different in different aspects of our childhood, like, I love who I am right now. I love my life right now. And everything that you did and chose and everything that I did and chose up until now, both contributed to creating this life that I have right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
So if I am gonna be like have full of regret or guilt or blame you for things, it's kind of like I'm judging myself, because it's not just you and it's not just me. It was the combination of the two things, and we're all just doing the best we can. We all are just doing the best you can, and you had so many things going on with the three of us individually and together, and you were a wife, and you were your own self, you know, you had your own personal goals and targets professionally and personally. And so like that's a lot to manage. And I would love for everybody that's watching this episode to just get that, like, we're all just doing the best we can. And maybe there's some of these ideas that we've brought up over the course of this discussion that you could maybe pull some of those out and use with yourself or your kids or your family. And see which of those are actually going to work, because we can talk a lot more. There's so many things my mom chose that were really different when she was raising us, from like visual reference and charts to how she led family meetings and had them, even having family meetings the way she did, to how she taught us to interact together as siblings. There's so much here. And so I would love to have you back on the show and talk about some of those strategies in the future. Really, really would appreciate it. But here's the thing is that, like, if there's any kind of take-home message, I would just love for people to just know that no matter what was going on with your family and how your parents raised you, they were doing the best they could, you were doing the best you could, and then now it's like, what do you got to do to get to over the next mountain that's to your joy? You know, do you have to climb over it? What do you need to be or do today that's going to get you to your next place of joy? That next possibility of having more and more of your life that's going to light you up. That's going to be like, yes, I'm here. Because that's one of the things that I learned from you, Ma, is that, like, it's all just temporary. Like, it's all of the struggle stuff. And there were many of them. It's just like, we always knew that there was going to be some kind of joy on the other side of it, even if it was just a hug from you. So thank you for that. If there was anything that you could invite people to, that you could let people know or suggest for them to do as a parent, as a teacher, as a person on this planet, for them to have more of that joy, more of that ease in their lives, what would it be?
Stop judging yourself. Don't judge yourself. As you were saying, you're doing the best that you can. And don't judge yourself, especially when you make the tough decisions that people are going to judge you from them. You know your child, and some things you're choosing right now for your child are in the best interest of your child. You have them. You gave birth to your child, and I had to do things differently, and I was judged, and I didn't take it as a judgment. So I took it as a judgment from them, but from me, I knew that deciding for Chani and Sita was in the best interest of them, and that's what took me that far away. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but you can contact Siris. Yes, there were things that I did with school, pulled out the program, for example, that worked for them. So look for help, look for advice, and then decide for what you want for your child. That what will work for you and your child.
Yeah, because it took a lot of bravery for you to choose something that was different, that didn't necessarily have the support of your colleagues, of your friends, and of us, of our family, and yet that absolutely created greater possibilities for each of us. And I can think of many examples of that. So I think that's a great idea and a great recommendation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode, on this show. If you have any questions for my mom about her parenting style, about her business pursuits, anything like that, go ahead and post it down below. If you like this episode and liked any of the other shows, feel free to check out some of the other episodes, subscribe to the channel, and you can go to adifferentfuture.com to submit suggestions for future guests. And you can contact my mom. Her business is Serene Fusion LLC. So you can go to serenefusion.com, and she's on Facebook and she's on Instagram and all these other social media platforms. And we'll have that information in the description down below as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.